Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the great Muslim apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Thadi Yahushai for the strength, to make this video. And Yaratazar, this is edifying and exhorting to you as well. Edifying meaning to build up, exhort meaning to encourage. And obviously, brief introduction. Here and there, you'll hear me say it. When we say Ka Halalim La, they were saying all praises to in the ancient Hebrew language. Kal meaning all, and then halalim is praises, and then la meaning to. Halal is the singular form of halalim, which means praise. So Kal halalim la, all praises to. And then we say Yahweh, the name of the Most High, which means He is, He exists, or He is to be. And when we say Bahashem, we're saying in the name, which is in other words, it's saying through Yahushai, which means via Yahushai, because He's our mediator, He's our intercessor to gain the mercy of Yahweh. And Yahushai meaning He delivers or He saves. And when we say Bahashem Rachah Kodash, we're saying in the name, Spirit Holy. Ba meaning in, Ha meaning the, Sham, S-H-A-M, meaning name. So through, in the name, Spirit Holy, Rachah meaning Spirit, Kodash meaning Holy. So through the Holy Spirit, that's how we connect to Yahushai, and then through Yahushai, that's how we get the mercy of Yahweh. And that's the way the order goes, spiritually. So, let's get into this video, because really, again, it's just based on, this prepper here called, what's his name, Full Spectrum Survival. Of course, you might see, Apostle speak on it. Apostle Tar sometimes does a video on him, and a few other elders too. But, nevertheless, he still relays the news out there in terms of what's going on and in terms of the reality of the situation, in terms of the economics, politics and whatnot. But yeah, and wars as well. So, and the impact really, that's what he really talks on it, the impact, the outcome of it. So, I'm going to read it. It says, Code Red, I caught 2 trespassers. They saw they are official. They say they are official, but someone is lying. I need your help. So I'm gonna play some of the video, bring out some precepts, not trying to stretch it out, because again, it's easy to understand what's going on here. Trespassers, obviously, you got a property, you got some land, and you got some strangers coming into that property without no heads up, essentially saying, all right, to prepare for their arrival. That's basically a trespasser. So you gotta get the permission of the owner of the land before you can actually get on that land. All right, let's play it.
I just found people on our property spraying throughout the entire property. I just found people on our property spraying throughout the entire property. They have no right to be here. They're not saying that they're with the power company. Kelly just let me know, and I'm a little bit out of breath because I just got back. And Kelly just let me know that there were people on the property. They were wearing high visibility vests. And if you know anything about what's going on in our world, you know that people are already donning Amazon vests. They're already using UPS outfits. They're dressing up like all sorts of legitimate businesses to get into people's properties, to get onto their house, and then they are acting maliciously. I just went down to check on them, see what was happening. This is ridiculous. I'm so beyond angry at this. I can't even keep my cool. You are not allowed on another person's property. Now, they cannot speak a lick of English. They couldn't even tell me why they were there, what they were spraying, who they were with. Told me absolutely. Who's this for?
In the UK, SIM cards and expensive monthly bills are about to become a thing of the past. Since free internet technology already exists, why keep letting monthly bills hold you hostage?
Told me absolutely. Who's this for? Alabama Power?
I'm sorry, little English. Please.
No spray.
No? Okay. Thank you, sir.
All they had to give me was a little ID card that on the back, it basically said, I don't know English. I don't have anything I can tell you. You can call my company and here's my picture ID. Now, anybody could do this. It was inside of a little laminate on a lanyard. I can make this at home. I can go buy a high visibility jacket, a vest inside of Home Depot. I can go buy one at Harbor Freight. I can get one online. I can get some stickers.
There's actually, prank videos online of people wearing high vis and then they gain access to certain places. There's a lot of them. So if they could use it for prank videos, how much more for actual with malicious intent? Because those two guys there were spraying his they had some kind of a spray of which was used. You don't know what the spray could produce in terms of what are the harmful effects, in terms of the crops. In fact, I'll let it play a bit more. Hold on.
Their stickers, everything on them had nothing to do with the power company. Now, of course, it could be a subsidiary. I still have to find that out, which is what Kelly's on right now. She's on the phone with them. She's also talking to local law enforcement. I rushed down there immediately. As soon as she said it, went one way on our driveway. Nobody. Now, remember, I live out in the middle of nowhere, so nobody should be out here. There's private property sign, there's closed gates, there's shooting that happens all the time, there's animals out, there's gardens everywhere, there's vehicles. Everything is locked up tight. Luckily, we have surveillance cameras. If we didn't have surveillance cameras, I would have no idea that they were there. And so my first level right now is to expand my zone because they were already up further within a threat area than I would ever want anybody to be. And if they had been acting maliciously, which I still don't know, I have no idea what the end game is here, and I won't know until we're done with law enforcement and we're done with calling the power company and we're done with anybody who might have a legitimate reason to be here. But I got in the vehicle and I lost my mind racing for these people who are on our property, spraying at the beehives, at the garden, everywhere, losing my mind. I'm losing my mind here because of this. It is not okay. And they even said it. That's the worst part in this whole thing. They said, we won't trespass on your property anymore.
Today we working for Alabama Power.
They can send me a letter by writing telling me they need to come on my property. Otherwise, they cannot come on my property.
Yeah, understand. Sorry, sir. My word is only follow my map.
Now, initially, when I was hearing the accent, I was thinking either it's a Latin tribe, because brothers who have interacted with the Latinos, the so-called Latinos, which is really just the Northern Kingdom, biblically speaking. That's the way they speak. Either that, or then the second thought that came to mind was maybe there could be some immigrants from Greece or something. But I'll say the former. They're probably Latin tribe. Some higher up, Edomite or Amlekite, pretty much managing some system, sending them as scouts for the land, to do some malicious work, man. You know how it is, man. Esau, we're still in our oppressor's land, so all sorts of Jake just trying to get by, man. But of course, they're being used. They're being used right now. They may not know it, but that's really what it is. So yeah, they probably are Latin tribe, to be fair. Obviously, you can't really see the face, but from the way they speak, it could be so.
Yeah, understand. For Alabama Power,
they can send me a letter by writing telling me they need to come on my property. Otherwise, they cannot come on my property.
Yeah, understand. Sorry, sir.
Which makes sense as well, because over here in the UK, before the council would have to do some work, on the property. Let's say if you do live in a council property, they normally send you a letter first, to say, all right, this is the plan, this is what's going to happen, and then that's to prepare your mind for a particular date for them to arrive, and then eventually it's like, okay, yeah, they brought in the person who's supposed to check the gas and whatever installations that need to happen. It's said beforehand via letter. So of course in America, clearly from this guy here, Full Spectrum Survival, works in a similar way, or the same way rather.
Only my word is only follow my map. Here is no
Right.
no see nothing. Is the reason the guys in walking.
Okay, so who do I call? who do I message to make?
I'm laughing because he just went straight to the point. He's like, I don't know what you guys are on about, but just give me some credentials, some like your boss number, your manager number. Let me talk to your manager. It's just funny how he was so direct with it. But yeah, I don't know, but you just gotta be cautious in it because you got people who are always watching and that you don't know what some got some nosy neighbors as well. Or just really Edomites. Esau wanted to how can I say this? Well, yes, to steal, kill, and destroy. As the scriptures say, he wants to destroy the farmland. Anyone who has any form of independence from the government, he's trying to destroy that as well, even with a covert manner. In a manner of which people will not perceive, such as, of course, the food. He tries to. That might even be another video as well, because going into the fertility crisis too. But yeah, even with the food as well the plastics too, that also hinders testosterone levels. But anyways, that's a video for another time. But yeah, I'm saying that's a covert manner which doesn't really it's not really known to the public. That's like a sneaky manner, a sneaky way of doing things, which is how, of course, Esau is described as a serpent, Genesis 3. But yeah, before I go on another lane. But yeah, that's the point, but of course, you gotta be cautious because you don't know why would you trespass when you're supposed to officially let the landowner or let the property owner know that, okay, this is what we're doing, get some checkups by. Well, yeah, anyway, let me get these presets and I'll play a little bit more and then that'll be it. All right, this is Matthew 6:19. It says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth where moth and rust doth corrupt and where thieves break through and steal. It says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. And there's levels to thievery as well, man. You got the simple thief, which is like, all right, let's just break in and collect whatever we can, then go. Then you got the more strategic thieves. You got advanced level planning, man. To like do a bank heist or to steal some diamonds. If you want to know what what an advanced level thief is like, especially for Jake, there's a series called Nemesis. I got that read from brothers. In the camp. When I heard that, I was like, okay, let me check it out. I saw the preview. It's okay, because generally I actually like heist type of movies. So yeah, that's some advanced thievery going on there. If you want a good series to look upon or to look at. But yeah, it says, lay not for yourselves treasures upon earth where moth and rust doth corrupt, where thieves break through and steal. Now, of course, it says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth. Again, considering, you got to use wisdom, because remember, the scriptures say, wisdom is a defense. In fact, I'm going to get that right now. Yeah, Ecclesiastes, let me just do this. Ecclesiastes, hold on. Ecclesiastes 7:12. For wisdom is the defense, and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Now, of course, the scriptures say, lay not for yourselves treasures upon the earth. You can take that to the extreme and, go John the Baptist mode in this current age. But of course, we got bills to pay and we've got certain responsibilities in this current time prior to the MOTB. But of course, really, again, when you apply wisdom to it, you know that these things are which you have. Because again, everyone's got their savings in their bank accounts. But at the end of the day, we ought not to be attached to them, where another individual will try and use that to then manipulate you. For instance, what I'm really referring to is Esau Edom. He's going to say, all right, if you want to keep all those savings, no matter how little or how much you have, they're going to try and say, all right, you got to take the MOTB. So Esau's going to be using manipulation tactics in order to well, read those who are not inclined to serving Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, they'll then be, scooped up, mentally speaking, because of course they're attached to this world, to Esau's system, to be more specific. But I'm saying for the time being, prior to the MLTB, of course, we use wisdom, we got responsibilities. It don't mean that you just throw away your savings because you see, lay not for yourselves, lay not for yourselves treasures, upon earth. Of course, yeah, you have your little stores here and there, and it don't mean as well that, okay, you feel bad because you bulk buy for the month. Me personally, I like to actually bulk buy so that I don't have to do this weekly shopping. Of course, if you got to do a top up, you do your top up. But the main point is, of course, whatever Yahweh Hashem Shai blesses you with, resources, don't waste it. Of course, use it, and of course, if brothers need some help, support brothers with it. But when the time comes to detach from it. That's the point. And pray for strength. Pray for that spirit of detachment of these fleshly and material things. Because nevertheless, we survive through Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Again, man shall not live by bread alone. So that's just some wisdom there. Again, where is it? It says, for wisdom is the defense and money is the defense. So, of course, use the resources that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has blessed you with. It don't mean that you should just chuck it out because of one precept. That's why the scriptures talk about precept upon precept, line upon line. You can't just read one precept and say, oh, all right, this is going to be it. No, you got to use wisdom, especially for the times that you're living in. Now, of course, each one with their lifestyle. But let's read this. Isaiah 28 and verse 10. For precept must be upon precept, line upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Because of course, when you go precept upon precept, that helps to gain a more holistic understanding. And it will help you in order to make the right decisions, which is really what wisdom is, the ability to decide or to judge well, so that's really what I was referring to in that scripture there. And of course, going to the thievery part as well, it says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. And how do you lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven? Praying, of course, fasting. This is part of the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, obeying Yahweh Hashem Yahushai as we can, praying for mercy, especially humility, and just doing the work. That's really it, doing the work and up to the famine of the word, because there's certain phases in life which we're going through. Of course, we're in the fishing phase still, but even the fishing phase it's about to end soon. And eventually it'll be the hunting season, which is where there's going to be mass judgment as well. Because that grace period, once them doors close, the spiritual arc, once it closes, you ain't going to be able to hear, hey man, remember when I did this, when I did that? No, you had your chance. Your family members had a chance. Your so-called, whoever you've preached to, or you've told the information based on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they had their chance. Even those guys on YouTube, or few may have heard of us as we preach. We live stream as well each week. They had their chance. Jake had their chance, man. And realistically, they even gonna have a chance even after the destruction of Babylon. But that's for the other Israelites across the world. When we're gonna say, choose ye this day whom you will serve. I believe that's Joshua 24:19. So we're going to say either you're going to have to give up your idols now and serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, or you're going to die. Because Yahushai did say, those who don't want to serve him, bring them forth and then slay them before me. So, again, man, it's going to be some rough stuff, man. But, that just shows you the mercy of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You got a grace period now, and then you still got the other Israelites across the world. They're still going to get their chance too. But the ones in Babylon, they only have a certain level of time left. They have a certain level of time, especially considering this is the 250th year anniversary for America. Boy, just know that the Most High is going to let them reach their peak before their fall. And we're heading towards that. All right. So, yeah, that's the understanding there. Let me get this as well. Hold on. Yep. So, again, use wisdom. Don't be dumb. use the resources Yahweh Shem has blessed you with. Just don't be too attached to it, because there will come a point where, of course, if you gotta move in it. You gotta move houses. Pilgrims upon the earth. Some of us will be in prison, as we know, Revelation 2 and verse 9 to 10, and some of us will be pilgrims upon the earth as well. So, which means we're going to be moving around. So don't be too attached where it's like, oh, I got all this food here, and I can't just leave it. No, that could be a hindrance to you. Remember, man shall not live by bread alone, and the Most High could bless you with even more just from sacrificing whatever you stored up. Or it could even be a case where it's like, all right, you're running out now, and then you're in the ideal situation where, okay, yeah, you got to move up because there ain't nothing here. But anyways, we're in the time of miracles too. So again, as Yahushua said, greater work shall ye do. Now, Proverbs 6 and verse 30, this is also the balance part of it. It says, men do not despise the thief, if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. That's why, you don't want to be a thief, man. Because if the thief get caught, sevenfold. So whatever's deemed as an appropriate amount, that's a lot, imagine 7 times. In fact, let me read in the NLT, hold on. Proverbs 6 and 30, excuses might be found for a thief who steals because he is starving, which means obviously these things be allowed. But if he is caught, he must pay back 7 times what he stole, even if he has to sell everything in his house. You see, because 7 times what he stole, man, that could wreck a man's life. Because he stole from another individual. That could wreck a man's life. So anyways, the point really is in verse 30, because, certain folk, you might, that's why, again, you got to operate in wisdom, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he instills the programs within people to act the way they act. I remember, I think there was a time when I was coming to camp as well, where, there's this homeless woman. Sometimes, I'll see her, off and on. She went into a shop. I was getting some water bowls, and then she went into a shop and then, took some little nibbles. I don't know if some chocolate or something, some snacks, and then she just, darted off. It was like, yeah, that's it. And that was the first time I saw it. That was the second time. The second time, the store owner, which is just the manager of the store, one of these how do you call it? Yeah, these major chain supermarket type of things, but the local ones, I just told the manager, you just can't do anything about it, man. You just gotta let them be, because I was reasoning. I had this precept in mind when I was thinking about that. What she did. It's like, all right, what, she's homeless, probably hasn't even eaten the whole day. Well, it was in the morning, so as I said, I was going towards camp. But, probably haven't eaten the last day. So, she even though she was caught, she still got to feed, man. Still got to feed. So it's one of those things where, more sides will be done. You can't just be, you just got to let them be, let things let the Most High's program run, because you don't know what situation she's been in, so that's really it, man. You just got to pray for wisdom when operating in this life. That's really it. Again, precept upon precept. And pray for wisdom. That's really what it comes down to. So anyways, I'm playing the rest of this video, and narratives are that this has opened your mind in terms of how to operate, in this current life, especially prior to the MOTB, and of course detaching from these things, which really starts mentally. From what's it called? Yeah, from these resources, food and whatever you may have stocked up on and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, it's all what's the word? Perishables. It's all perishable at the end of the day. Alright, so yeah, back to the video.
Here is no
Right.
no see nothing. Is the reason the guys in walking.
Okay, so who do I call? Who do I message to make sure that it's no spray here?
Okay.
How do I get that taken care of?
Please send this.
Okay.
No more trespassing in your property.
Okay.
Okay. For now, sorry, sir.
Okay.
These guys, and say only spy the small span.
Yeah, we have gardens, so we have food, plants.
Now that I've seen the film, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Latin tribe, Elon, Greek immigrant. I don't know. But the point is, you can't just be trespassing on anyone's property, man. You can't just. Just think about it. Imagine you had a house, and then some guy. They call them squatters nowadays, isn't it? Some people just like, all right, we're gonna stay here. Let's say you went on a little vacation, little holiday. You come back and then you have people who broken into the house and they're just staying there now. I believe New York actually makes it legal for squatters to keep the property. There was some guys. What's his name, man? Is it Cash Jordan or something? But some people on YouTube who've made little video documentaries on that as well. So yeah, you can't just trespass into another man's property. That's just injustice right there. No lack of respect.
Yeah.
Chickens, everything that go through that area. Okay.
These guys, and say only spy the small span.
Yeah, we have gardens, so we have food, plants,
Yeah.
chickens, everything that go through that area. Bees, and the spray can affect those. They can hurt those animals.
Okay.
Now this is right where they were when I finally caught up to them. Does this look like there's power lines anywhere? To anybody else, does this look like there's anywhere that anybody should be walking through or spraying? And a lot of times bad actors are going to take a legitimate reason to be at your house, whether it's a cable guy or it's a plumber or an electrician. If they have an intention to do something harm, they will use the legitimacy of the reason to be there. Same reason you see child predators in schools. You see teachers that are child predators. You see child predators. They use their legitimacy to be able to act maliciously. I caught up to them. Can't tell me why they're there. Can't tell me what they're spraying. Can't tell me if it's poisonous to me.
Man, it's true. It's like, what? They mentioned they're from Alabama Power, which obviously is referring to some kind of a company based on he deals with like the electricity, the electrical grid over there in America. You put two and two together. But why do you need to spray something, in a forest-like environment? I believe obviously this is his land, so it's a case of that doesn't make any sense at all. So he's making solid points. And really, again, this is why we ought to pray to Yahweh Shem Yashar, because of course we don't need to worry about these things. If you were to see or hear about the works of the Akim, the unseen Akim, because really the angels are our brothers, by the way. They are our brothers. Their spirits were created just like ours. The only difference is Yahara Tazar, us being the elect, we were simply just the first set of spirits or first set of angels to be created, after Yahushua. So, the unseen brothers, they're working, man. Yahushua is giving commands, protect this brother, protect these brothers. As we work, you may think that you're not getting paid, but really you are getting paid. You're just not getting paid in the currency that you may think. You're getting paid spiritually in terms of protection, having a spiritual discernment to know how to move, what environments not to be in at certain times, just guidance, really. You're getting paid in that. You're getting paid in wisdom through the scriptures, understanding of the scriptures as well. And just having a calm, peaceful mind, when most people, they're stressing and, they're bugging because of the fact of all the situations that's happening right now, from the wars to the economic environment to just their daily lives as well.
Can't tell me if it's going to kill the cats. Can't tell me if it's going to harm the chickens. Can't tell me if it's going to affect the plants that we just put into the garden. Literally can't speak the English to tell me. All they can say is, and hand me this little card for me to take a video of and call whoever I need to call.
The closest thing to fresh air in this office is your boss's screensaver.
For me to take a video of and call whoever I need to call. We're in this ridiculous heat wave right now, and Kelly's still trying to get to the bottom of it. I went back to reread the deed. You know, your deed and your ease.
Yeah, that's really the point, Arkin. That's the point. So, again, that's the importance of prayer, man. Where most folk out there in the world, you know, the thieves they're subject to thieves. For us, we're protected because we've got Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and of course, as the scriptures say, the angels of the Lord encampeth, so they surround us who fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And that's Psalms 34 and verse 7, I believe. So, you know, you got to believe that, know it, and we ain't got nothing to worry. Now, of course, don't don't be dumb, because sometimes, you know, the Most High will give us signals in terms of what to do, what to prepare. For example, you know, Joseph and the 7 years of famine. You know, there was Joseph, of course, had the vision, and he told Pharaoh to prepare, man. So you read, there's certain seasons where things got to be done, but then when the time comes, as I said, the MOTB, that's when you got to detach from it. That's it. So yeah, Ratazar, honestly speaking, you know, that, you know, you've understood the message of this video. And yeah, so Shalom, Yabashim Shah Brakatha. I'll link this in the description if you want to watch the full thing too. So yeah, Shalom, Yabashim Shah Brakatha.